Om Namah Shivaya friends, welcome to Dots of Destiny. Today's video is about the transit of Mars in Gemini. The transit of Mars in Gemini begins from 26th of August and it will be continuing till 20th of October. So it's quite a long transit, and Mars is slowing down literally in the sense that it'll from this Gemini it will go into Cancer, then it will become retrograde. It's a long transit of Mars in Gemini and Cancer this year, and not only in 2024, it will go up to 2025. So let's begin with that. Now see, Gemini is a very desirous sign. It is full of desires. The third house, everyday desires. And wherever Gemini lies in your horoscope, you will feel that you have certain things in your mind that you want it, and that is very though it can be a regular desire, but it is how you think about that area. It is your skills, actually. Your skills lie in that area. It can be related to communication, and whichever part of the horoscope your Gemini is, whether it's a first, second, third, fourth, whichever house, that house is special for you. And if you have a combination of good planets over there, like Rahu does well in Gemini, like Venus does well, in the sense that these are these planets like being in Gemini. So it is then Mercury itself, if it's in Gemini, you're quite a skilled personal, and the skills can be like multitasking things also. That is the typical Mercury of Gemini. Now Mars is present in Gemini is a little blunt, and the communication can be, see, it's logical. Mars is logical. Mercury is also full of logic and quirkiness. The communication can be very fast and logical, but at the same time it can be blunt and quite hitting at the wrong point sometimes, in the sense that which is not desired. But here Mars, as Mrigashira is part, this nakshatra is part of Gemini. Mrigashira is it's a materialistic nakshatra of Mars. It augurs the desire part of this sign. Gemini is our regular desires. I look up when I see Gemini. See, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius is part of the desire houses. But the third house is the regular things that we do, and we wanted to do it in our way. We don't want to follow anybody else's advice over here, and Mars will make that situation even more in that way, because the energy of Mars is like that. It needs some quickness, and Gemini gives that quickness. And it is good for sports and other skilled things which are like hobbies, but especially you can have this time, like Gemini is also the third house of literally negotiating communications, and then also it is like your neighbors. There can be some rough patch with that, and when Mars comes into Ardra, that point is another a little too much pushy at times. The selfish, because the Mercury is a child and Gemini is a childlike sign. The selfishness of Mars takes its full blown attitude in the Ardra nakshatra. Ardra is good, a reformative nakshatra, in the sense that these people, if you have an Ardra rising, you'll see that, or if your moon is in Ardra, there will be some kind of things which you want to establish beyond the norms of society. That is Rahu. That is the Rahu nakshatra. Rahu Mangal, as you know, the energies are too bombastic, and it's a fiery combination, because it's a fireball. Your Rahu is airy, so it is even blasting up the fire. So these are the problems with Ardra, which gets a better shape in Punarvasu, because it's a Jupiterian nakshatra. Again, some things maybe you have to again do it in certain way. That is how it is. In Ardra, no social dogmas are attached to that sign. They want to, Rahu is that energy of, kicking the border of anything, and Mars will full force give that. Now here, the situation that is going on, there is a lot of connotation all around at this point of time, being Saturn retrograde, looking towards Leo. Mercury is also retrograde and in the Gandanta zone, then it comes into Leo. So the Mars entry into Gemini is quite an explosive transit. It has to be. And as far as since Mercury is retrograde, it comes back to direct position on 29th of this month, August, and then comes back to Leo on 4th. But again, Leo is a fiery sign, and Mars is having the control of Gemini and aspecting Virgo, where Ketu is there. And Venus gets quite pissed off with Ketu, Mars aspecting Venus, transiting into Virgo. Otherwise, I feel, Virgo is a better sign for Mars than Gemini. The speech is the main thing over here. If you are a social media person, you have to not only, especially, see, if you are in some kind of a field where speech is very important, wherever your Gemini is, you have to be very careful regarding that area. Speech can cause blunder, that may well happen, and you don't take things over here, because Mars wants, wherever Mars transits, there is a there is a forcefulness, there's an urgency to do the thing. And because see, till now it was with Jupiter, with Taurus, with an earthy sign. Now here it's an Aries sign. Sometimes you can blown out of proportion the things that you want to desire, and you want to go full-fledged and do your things. But one thing in this transit I feel is better, that Saturn isn't trying to Mars, and so the energy of Mars, when Saturn is trying to it, will come out slowly in a calibrated way, not exactly flaring up or blowing out on the face. So that is here. Suppose you're going for any kind of a negotiation or any kind of interviews, as the job market is also quite volatile these days. So just do not spit out or create a thing which is not desirable, because everything leaves an after effect, and at this point of time you have to be level headed with the kind of transits that are going on. And see, here comes in the chapter that Saturn is last leg of transit, where it is retrograde, and it is Aquarius. The good times that we have been seeing from the beginning of this year or last year, the things how they were growing, it will not be exactly the same. And every video I am telling this, because next year there will be 3 big changes. Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu, all will be changing signs, and it's a Marsian year. So there will be a lot of changes. Every change is not easy to accept. And this Mars transit will push you towards that. Then obviously, if any mistake is done in this transit of Mars, especially if you are running a Dasha Mahadasha Antardasha of Mars, then later it will go to Cancer. Again it will retrograde back to Gemini. There will be unnecessary emotional thing at this point of time. Obviously Venus is also not in a good place, so relationships should be dealt very carefully, and your words should be at check, because words do matter a lot in whichever relationship we are. Simply with your boss, also in the official area, in some presentation, in your interviews, in your near and dear ones, in your family, your loved one, your affairs, whatever. And another thing is that Mars heightens the sexual desires in Gemini. Gemini is that kind of a quickness in relationship. So if at this point of time, the kind of situation Venus is in, if you are heading towards a relationship, please wait, because Mars will then go to Cancer. by 20th of October, you can come in across a bad patch of time, a bad emotional breakup or anything like this. That can be within your family also, not that it always has to happen with your any affair kind of a thing. So this is the transit of Mars. I'll say how the ascendants fare in these kind of transits, but yes, the drishti of Mars is in the Virgo only. It is volatile because Ketu is there. Otherwise Mars in Virgo is better because again it's an earthy sign. Then it also aspects Sagittarius, another fiery sign, and also aspects Capricorn. It's a sign of exaltation. So the aspects of Mars are not bad, barring the fact that it is aspecting Virgo where Ketu is already there. So Virgo, wherever it is there in your horoscope, some observation regarding Virgo needs to be done. And Mercury will be now transiting slowly towards Leo and aspected by Saturn. So you can understand the speech, the Virgo houses of Gemini, the houses of Mercury, Virgo and Gemini all will be under quite a lot of stress at this point of time. So let's see how the ascendants, how Mars transit in Gemini affects each of the ascendants. For the Aries ascendant, the transit of Mars in Gemini is your third house and your Lagna Lord going into the third house. I think you were already in, because Mars is already transiting in Mrigashira, and as though it was with Jupiter, you had been thinking of something in your, some kind of thought in your mind, whatever you want to go and achieve, because Aries people are usually very fast in their taking actions and going forth and doing things. Third house gives a lot of that now in this transit. So you'll be taking decisions, you'll be going for short distance travels, you can put a fight with your neighbors, your communication can be quite blunt and to the point, logical, but that is how Mars in Gemini acts. So third house, don't see if that your hobbies can be good at this point of time. You can feel yourself quite full of activity, very busy, and it's a good transit in the way that you feel lively. But remember that your Lagna Lord will be going into, after this transit, will be moving into Cancer by 20th of October, and that time you may regret some of the things or decisions that you have taken already in the third house. That's why this transit of Mars a little volatile in Gemini. So better, because see, now the aspect of Saturn is also not there, and so Mars is all gearing up to go, and its fourth aspect falls on your sixth house. If you are, because your seventh lord is also there, Venus being there, if you have a tug of war with your relationships or your seventh lord, your family members, or you want to take a loan or something like that, you don't put up a fight for that. If you are having some problem in your daily routine, in your with your subordinates, with your work area, your communication should not spike up the process, should not put it on fire, because already Ketu is there and the aspect of Mars on Ketu is quite fiery, and Venus, the second and the seventh lord is getting quite a lot of pissed out in that area. The ninth aspect falls on Sagittarius. That's good. If you had been thinking of long distance journey or taking up some courses or learning again, that can be really good in that area. And also to the 10th, the 8th aspect of Mars, the 10th house is also good in Capricorn. So as of now, it's I cannot say it's a bad transit, but because see, Adra Nakshatra lies in Gemini. So as slowly Mars moves from Mrigashira to Ardra, you have to be quite careful with the storm of Adra over there. This is the main point of this transit. because Mrigashira and Punarvasu are ruled by Mars and Jupiter respectively, which is good. But Rahu and Mars combination in Ardra, being a Rahu Nakshatra and being very stormy, you should not, because third house is also decision making house. Any of your decision, whatever you take, should not be, you know, the big storm in your life which can create some big hassle for you after taking the decision. So think about it and then run the show. Because any decision you take now, whether for long haul, especially remember that Saturn will slowly go to the 12th house after being direct in Aquarius. So take decisions, which is important, but with all the perspectives in the mind, what will happen in the long run. For Taurus ascendant, Mars is now on the Lagna and will be moving into the second house. Now, as Mars moves into the second house, it will be all about your money matters. Because, see, second house Mars is some quarrel with the family also. Your speech can take a very big, can become problematic as long as your family is concerned. And also your love affairs are concerned. Also with your progeny, do not go over the board, because this fourth aspect of, maybe you are trying to protect it, when the process, because the second house is the speech, you are speaking something which is not wanted. Because the aspects of Mars are seen on the 5th house, on the 8th house and the 9th house. So these are some, especially 2nd house and 5th house is quite a sensitive house. Any monetary decision if you have to take, you can see, obviously Mars when transits into a money house, it is all about, it's not about the relationship at that point of time. It is all about the material perspective of that house, how much you can earn, what will be your earning, what will be your saving, what can you invest, all these things can come into your mind. Also there can be, because it is your 12th lord and your 7th lord also, there can be some monetary losses also, or expenses more. Here expenses also becomes a little more when second house, the 12th lord comes in second house. If some foreign money is also involved in the process, see that it does not get before even coming into your bank, it does not, you should not be putting it out for, for your expenses in that manner. 5th house is in a very, very volatile condition. Ketu being there, Mars aspecting, if any of the Taurus ascendant is having a time of pregnancy or something like that, you have to be very, very careful at this point of time, because the Lagna Lord is simply not at all in a good condition. So you have to be very skeptical with things, think twice and take slowly and don't hurry, because Mars aspecting the house of Sagittarius, which is the 8th house also, some sudden events can spur, because the 8th lord is also on the Lagna. So though Saturn is in the 10th, but this retrograde, and Rahu being in the, because see, Rahu and Mars are in your 2nd and the 11th house, both are money houses, and Gemini itself is a desire house. So your desires regarding financial benefits can make you a little rough with your ways. That is the thing, and especially with your near and dear ones. So that needs to be kept into the mind. Otherwise, usually Mars in the 2nd house, other than the speech and other things, monetarily it can give you some gains also, and you can be you will be able to channelize, if you are quite stable, the energy of Mars. It is a materialistic transit actually. The for the Gemini ascendant is the 1st house. Mars is transiting on the Lagna. Mars transit on the Lagna is again because see, you are an Aries sign, and Mars, as now from the 12th it has come on the Lagna. You want to do things for yourself. You can be very assertive at this point of time, and Mars is that kind of a planet which does not make us think about others. Suddenly you feel that you want it in some way and you head towards that. That is how Gemini sign is, and Mars is also that kind of a planet. So here the lull of the storm is too high, because see, your Ketu is in the 4th house, Mars will be aspecting the 4th house, very volatile combination. So your mother's health is very important at this point of time. See the house, especially at that kind of combination, please see, check your kitchen area, your gas area, if it is locked properly and all the knobs are, because these kind of incidents can cause small big fires also, especially when Mars is in Adra. That kind of things do happen, because Mars Ketu is very heated up energy. Okay, now as Mars is aspecting the 7th house, it can be a challenge sometimes with the partner also, because Sagittarius is a fiery sign and Mars aspecting that. Your partner can also not tolerate the kind of ways you are heading towards. That may well happen. And also it is aspecting the 8th house of Capricorn. So see here, all the houses are, the houses Mars is aspecting is not very good. It is some kind of accident prone thing, some kind of, especially Mars on the forehead, when it comes on the Lagna, some kind of a cut or some kind of, can give some wounds or something. And or if not like that, if you're running a dasha antardasha of Mars or some other benefic planet, it may be neutralized to a little bit. It does happen, but you should not be going fast in your mind and do whatever you want to do immediately. That is the main problem with Mars being on the Lagna, because it is a very hedonistic planet. It wants to take it all by itself. It will not work like that, because then it will go to Cancer. The after immediate transit after this is Mars transit into Cancer. So it's not a, and see that's a problem. Jupiter is in the 12th house. Some losses, some emotional damages can happen with such kind of a, if such decisions, sudden decisions are taken. For Cancer, it is in the 12th house. 12th house Mars is, it creates hindrances for the self. The energy is such, it is all pent up energy. You can feel that you want to do things, because it will be aspecting the 3rd house also, and it is your 10th lord also. So you can feel the urge to do things, but you must understand at this point of time, no decision regarding your 10th house should be taken. When it comes on the Lagna, then also it's not easy, but see, you have to go with very matured understanding of the circumstances. Jupiter position is good, but if you are putting money into something or taking a professional decision and all these, you have to be very careful at this point of time, because Jupiter will also become retrograde and Saturn is already retrograde in your 8th house. So these situations, so see, the 8th Saturn is there and Mars is there in the 12th. Only Jupiter is a good position, but it will also from October go into retrogression. So obviously it's a time to wait and watch. You cannot at this time you want to, because Mars will be aspecting your 4th house, your 6th house, your 7th house. It will push you towards competitive things, towards taking decisions, towards going to foreign lands for if you need for work, or maybe traveling, or maybe put up a sudden outburst with the people neighboring to you. All these things with your colleagues, with your co-workers in your regular job area, because that is also the sign of Sagittarius over there. So it is a wait and watch transit. Do not get agitated with it. You can feel sometimes too much is anger can pent up within you. It may happen. It does. And you can feel with the pent up anger, if you are not able to blast it out, you can go into some sort of a depression also. But understand the transit is like that. You cannot do much. Jupiter being good the whole year, again I will say when January February comes, it will be because retrograde Jupiter will not give you, you have to go back and look into things again. So because it's your Bhagya Lord, you have to, you know, brush up your your fortune house again. You have to look into things again. Mars will also go retrograde. So 9th and 10th Lord, as they go retrograde by the beginning of the year, by the end of the year to the beginning of the next year, lot of things will happen. It's not a very good transit, to be very true, because I hope that 11th house Mars with Jupiter transit has given you certain things to dwell upon, and some easy gains could have happened, but this is not a good transit in any way. So hold your horses. The situation is such, Saturn being in the 8th, you cannot take sudden decisions and run a, you know, bad show later. So that's how it is as of now. Okay, now comes Leo. For the Gemini transit of Mars in your 11th house, here 11th house always, you know, Mars is good, but not with networkings and all these things. Gaining money is good here. You will want to do things on your own, and if you have to go with people, because networks are a inevitable part of the 11th house, you will have very few people to network with, and because Mars is a soldier, it does not want too many people also around. So that is also a fact with Mars over here. Yes, the 11th and the 2nd house, Mars aspecting the 2nd house, is quite lively at this point of time. If you get good gains, please hold on to the gains. Don't go for a spending spree, because after this Mars will go into the 12th house. It will come back into Gemini. There's a long transit of Mars, very long transit. It will last till next, you know, it will go into Gemini in January, February, March, and then again come back to Cancer in April. Very long transit. So this is the first leg of the Mars in Gemini. It will be good transit, it will be a decent transit. If money comes to you automatically, it's good. If you have to work with some people and negotiate with them in some kind of a network, be a little, you know, okay with it. Go slow, because Saturn is constantly aspecting your Lagna. Mercury will come on the Lagna, and your speech is Ketu Venus over there, and Mars aspecting it. Speech should be very, 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 you know, in a decent, most decent way. You have to do negotiations, and if you are running a business or something like that, because the 10th Lord with Ketu aspected by Mars, you may be wanting to do something. The 7th Lord is there aspecting your Lagna, Mercury being there, lot of things are happening. It's though the speed may want to flare up and may want to push you ahead, but don't be very fast in taking decisions, and you know, making things run very fast will not end up in a very good way. Very cautiously now you have to go forward. Let Venus come into Libra by 18th of September. Then you can take some decision regarding your 10th house matters. But 11th and 2nd house should get a boost with this transit. It's not a bad transit anyway for you. 11th house Mars is good. Don't put up a fight with your network, only that is the caution. Your speech should be always you should always take the best foot forward to give the best kind of communication, because it's a very heated up. 2nd house matters, your family also, and with the aspect of Mars in the 5th house with child, and also in the 6th house, so there is a lot of work that can also happen. So it's all in all, it's a good transit. What I always see is that whether this transit is good, and then what happens to the repercussions later when Mars come into Cancer. So thinking about that, when it will create a Sharashtak with Saturn, so thinking about that, we have to be a little slow and go slowly and think wisely. Build up your money, don't go into extravagant spending. That's it. Some kind of desire fulfillment can well happen with Mars in the 11th house, because it's your Yoga Karak planet also. For Virgo, Mars is coming into your 10th house. Now you must be, 10th house Mars, as we know, a lot of energy in the professional area. Maybe you had been waiting for this for quite long. Jupiter is in the 9th house aspecting your Lagna, and Mars also now will be aspecting your Lagna. Ketu is also there. Now see, a lot of planets are now aspecting your Lagna, and Saturn will be there retrograde in the 6th house. Now if you have to take some decision regarding the 6th house matters, which you have to look again during this retrogression of Saturn, you can take, but a slow approach is needed. Don't suddenly make it. Ketu and Mars aspecting Ketu with your Venus being there can it's a very volatile combination. You can feel the sudden heat to act, and sudden heat to act can, because see, Ketu is sometimes that kind of a sudden, gives the headless attitude towards particular thing, and Mars, you will always escalate the thing because it's also fire. And you have to understand that it is aspecting your Lagna, it is aspecting your 4th house and your 5th house. So your decision should not put connotation or a bad feeling at the home. And whatever decision you're taking at the official front, the communication should be try to be sober, because as Mars goes into Adra Nakshatra, it's a very volatile nakshatra, Rahu's nakshatra, and because Rahu is in the 7th house, so certain business deals, and also you may have to go for negotiation. Mercury's condition is not very good, as we all know, and Mercury, though it is now retrograde, then it will become direct in Leo in your 12th house, then it will come on the Lagna, again it will be with Ketu. Mercury Ketu is also some kind of an irritation. So Mars will be aspecting that Mercury at that point of time. So your Lagna Lord is not at all in a very steady and profit giving or directionally in a very good condition. Even if when it comes on the Lagna, it's under pressure with Ketu already being there. So this transit is good, but your decisions or your you have to have a cool approach towards it. You cannot get heated up and later fall prey to your own decisions or your own communication or the way you close a deal in your professional area or business area, whatever. So this is the transit for you Virgos. Now let's go to the house of Gemini. So 9th house for Mars is it is like it's a politically driven Mars. Mars is not the planet for too much of spiritual knowledge and excellence at par with that kind of spirituality, guru seeking or something like that. But yes, if you are looking for some kind of higher studies things which is relatable to Mars, that can happen in such kind of a transit. You can start with it, that may happen, but obviously the Mars over here makes you a dogmatic thinker. It can give you some political inhibitions, some distance journeys you may suddenly want to go, because that spur of the moment thing of Gemini Mars is very much seen. Now understand that the condition of your Lagna Lord Venus is not very good, though it is in the 12th house, and let it come to Libra, because this is very important. Mars is aspecting that Venus in the 12th house with Ketu. This is a volatile combination that is happening in the 12th house. So if you're traveling also, you can land up in some kind of a seclusion problem, some kind of sudden journey breaks or all these things. If some kind of hospitalization or operation is there, it will well happen, as Mars is aspecting your Lagna Lord with Ketu being there. So that is also there in the 12th house matters. Now obviously when Venus, your Lagna Lord, comes on the Lagna by 18th of September, that will be a better time. If any decision you want to take, because Mars is aspecting the 3rd and the 4th house also, because see, Sagittarius, the 3rd house of Sagittarius is also it is a fiery sign. So if you want to take any decision over there, because it's or travel again or something, let the Lagna Lord come onto the Lagna. Because see, Mars will be transiting in the Rahu Nakshatra from 6th to 30th of September, Adra. This Adra Nakshatra of Rahu and Mars combination transiting over there is very volatile, and it can give sudden breaks in journeys or difficulties with different things. So a caution, time, and a stitch in time saves nine. So that's why the guidance of astrology in such case is very important. If you have to go for any medical thing, you have to do it, because that is you have to rectify the thing. But if you want to go for a pleasure trip or visit to foreign countries or any long distance journeys or short distance journeys, or to speak to somebody, because Mars in the 9th is now heading slowly towards your 10th, and it can, because Cancer Mars is very emotional over there, emotional in the sense that they become very emotional with the smallest of irritation. That is a problem, and that's a 10th house. Mars, though Mars gets Digbala, it's good strength in the 10th, but the sign is Cancer. So anything that you want to inculcate in your life, studies can be okay, distance journeys can be good, if you have to take some medicinal care or some hospitalization, it's okay, but the time is very important when you're heading towards all these things, not before 18th of September. Let your Lagna Lord come on the Lagna if it is possible. So this is the mainly the transit is showing these areas of your life are in focus, especially if you are running Mars Antardasha or Dasha in the long haul. Saturn being in the 5th house, you can feel and because Lagna Lord is also not in a good condition, you can feel some stresses building up. You can take some outing, vacation or anything which can soothe you down in that way. So that's okay to but now I think your main focus for the Libra is now the 8th house, as Jupiter is still there, is gone into Mrigashira now. You are finding for 8th house matters, studies, investment and all these things. So let's see what happens in this transit. So I've told you the points which needs to be kept in mind. Now Scorpio as Mars transits into Gemini, your Lagna Lord in the 8th house, some dead matters can come into life again. Your investments can take, again you may have the desire to invest on things, and as it is Scorpio is the original 8th house sign of investment, you can keep certain things secret from others. If you are running into some kind of a relationship which is not out in the world, it may happen so that it comes out to people. It may happen so, because Mars is very volatile over there. So and your own health can need a check or some kind of a checking you may go for regarding your health. Be very cautious regarding any injuries you can land up if you're not quite alert about it. And Mars aspecting the 11th house where Ketu is with Venus over there. 11th house is not a bad position for Ketu Mars aspect, because the house of the 11th house is such that it can handle such energies. Problem is that you can get monetary benefits, but your networking circle can suddenly take a turn, because Venus is also debilitated over there, your 7th lord going into the 11th house. Your partner can suddenly become quite materialistic. Especially this transit of Mars from the 6th of September to 30th of September can give a tug of war in the relationship. So go slow with it, don't be in a hurry, and because you are in the Lagna Lord is in the 8th, the 7th Lord is debilitated, it is not a very good sign of a good relationship at this point of time. Monetarily, new investment or gains can well happen at this point of time. Be alert about your health and any sudden injuries in your life, but most of your things are at this point of time about 8th house, 11th house, 2nd house and the 3rd house. So all these things are decisions about you and your investments and money and spendings and all. I mean, the 2nd house is about putting things into, your money, how to put it into different pockets or how to put it into savings. So these things are the major show of this transit. Sagittarius, Mars will be transiting into your 7th house. No way it's a good transit. We all know that Mars in Gemini already in a desirous house. If you are running a dasha antardasha of Mars, you have to be very, very alert at this point of time, because Mars will be in Gemini, it will go into Cancer, it will come back to Gemini, again it will go into your 8th house. This back and forth of Mars in your 7th and the 8th, both the houses, Mars is not desirable. Jupiter is very difficult for Jupiter to save you, because Jupiter itself will go retrograde and in the 6th house. Saturn in the 3rd house can forcefully, because it's retrograde, make you some decisions, make you take some decisions at this point of time. The decisions, the thing is that the decision can be regarding your 10th house area, because Mars is aspecting 10th house, your lagna, and also the 2nd house, the profession, yourself and money, 3 together. Now in the professional area, Ketu being there is constantly giving you an irritation, and some kind of change is inevitable in the professional area. You are going with it. It's a difficult transit, no doubt about it. And because see, the 6th lord has also gone into the 10th house, aspected by Jupiter is also aspecting, but the main aspect now is of Ketu, of Mars, and Ketu being there and Mars aspecting. Once Venus goes into 18th of September in your 11th house, little bit things can turn out to be better regarding your 6th house and 11th house matters, co-workers, your daily jobs, your money, your incoming gains, all these things. So very, very carefully you have to handle your speech, your temper, your relationship, your health also, because the lower part of the body, your Mars traveling in the 7th and 8th back and forth is not good too much for the health part of it also. See, when things do not go well, I have seen many parts of the lives are affected, and then we are at God's grace, we cannot do much about it. I feel that this point of time you should definitely go to temples on Thursday and do Hanuman Chalisa. Very important for you at this point of time, given the kind of transits that you are running at this point of time. Hope it helps. Take care of yourself and your relationship. Yes. Then after Sagittarius is Capricorn. Capricorn, Mars will be transiting in the 6th house. 6th house Mars is good in a competitive sense. Sudden competition can arise in your mind. Till now you may be laid back in certain things, or you may not be, because 5th house Mars is not it is good for sports and all, but 6th house is very competitive Mars. Rogrin Shatru, you want to take loan, you want to deal with, if you have any pending issues of your health, Mars can, because it can put you into that kind of a situation. Obviously it's the 4th lord. Now any issues with the home, with properties, with making houses and all this is dependent on your loan. You have to take a loan for that. 11th lord, when comes in the 6th house, you have to fight for your daily gains. That can also well happen. So though the 6th the transit of Mars in the 6th house is good, it gives you the vitality, it gives you a regular regime for exercising, it gives a health check, it gives a fitness, all these things will be there. But understand that it is aspecting the 9th house. And especially the 12th house and the Lagna. Now these two aspects, 9th house, already you are in a crisis with Ketu being there, that the 10th lord being there aspected by Mars. No decision at this point of time regarding the 10th house should be done, because Mars will be in Ardra Nakshatra from the 6th to the 30th of September. Wait till Venus comes into Libra, and then slowly it will go to Scorpio. Wait till for that transit from 18th of September to happen. I'll put a video for Venus in Libra. Then you can take some decisions regarding your 5th house matters and your 10th house matters. Let that Venus be free from the glitches of Ketu and Mars. And then your health can, if you take a look on that, it will be better. Don't spend or do not suddenly take up loans which may bother you later, because Mars is also aspecting Sagittarius. Suddenly your desires can, can get flared up, and also aspecting the Lagna, because whenever Mars aspect, now see this Mars will also come into Cancer later, that's the 7th house, and aspecting, you can feel very confident, but your relationship needs to be checked at this point of time. If it has to go, it will go, but if it needs some kind of rectification from your end, you have to do that. You cannot think that I'll be right, I'm right all the time. Mars, when aspects Capricorn, it gives such kind of confidence in a person. So this is how the transit will pan for you, mainly about Rogring Shatru and competitiveness, examination if any there. It's a good chance that you can be very logical and good at the examination point of view. Okay, Aquarius, the transit of Mars in the 5th house. Now I feel the 5th house transit of Mars is a bit it's a bit sensitive, because 5th house Mars is good for sports activities, for hobbies, for extracurricular activities, for other things like this, for dating also, but it definitely, because it's a Gemini sign, it creates some spat in the verbal speech, in a speech area. With your progeny, go slow. Mars can give a heated up argument with progeny also. So it is aspecting your 8th house, which is not at all a good position now. Ketu already being there, your yoga karak planet Venus went into there, Mars aspecting. 6th of September to 30th of September, you have to be very careful with your progeny, your love affairs, your health and all these things, and also with your in-laws also. Mars will aspect the 11th house and the 12th house. If you are looking in for some gains, it can bring in some gains if conditions of your life or your situation is such. 11th aspect of Mars is good. 12th aspect, your expenses can be structured because Capricorn is there. Some expenses can happen because Mars will also come into the 6th house later. So expenses in the sense, you can also take up a loan for that, or you want to sell off something and you want to buy something else. These things can happen because Mars is, we all know, property related matters, real estate related matters, all these things. Jupiter being in the 4th house, you can have an that kind of a thing can come into your mind. So this is a sensitive transit. Don't go into unnecessary affairs. If you want to build it for the sake of it, it can well fizzle out in the near transits, because now your Lagna Lord is retrograde. Mars in Gemini is not the relationship for a long time, it's just a hookup. Venus condition is not good, and also your luck is not in your side too much at this point of time. Let the Venus come into Libra on the 18th of September, then things can start looking up a little better. So that is as of now. So hold on to your horses, be a little calm. You know that Saturn retrograde on the Lagna is go slow process. It's not easy to deal with a retrograde Saturn on the Lagna. Pisces ascendant, Mars is in the 4th house. 4th house Mars is again a problematic area. The 3rd house Mars and Jupiter transit could have given you some some decisions or some travels or some goodness in your life. It can well have made you quite energetic. The 4th house Mars can put you into a fix of things, as Mars is not at all comfortable in the 4th house, and it is aspecting the 7th house. It is aspecting your 10th house and the 11th house. Mars is a yoga karak for you, no doubt about that, but understand that Mars being a very malefic planet in the 4th house, the presence of Mars is not good for the mother. Neither it's good for your situation of your emotional well-being. It's not good. You can feel quite rough inside within you. If there is some property matters, negotiations can be done. Let Mercury come into a good position then. But before that, this Mars can give you a lot of problem in your emotional point of view, because it will also go into your 5th house later after 20th of October. And this back and forth of Mars in the 4th and 5th house can be quite a little traumatic or problematic in affairs, in emotional settings, in your intellect getting hit over here. It's not at all the transit that we want, because see, already you have a Rahu on the Lagna. Now the Kendra house of 4th house Mars is getting over there, which is Dikshunya Mars, and it does not do well in the 4th house. then it is aspecting your 7th house where already Ketu is there. You have to be very careful with your relationship, very, very careful at this point of time. And the 10th house matters can, you may sudden feel that you need to do something, but the need is, let Jupiter become direct. Once it will become retrograde, because now it is in Rigshira going towards getting retrogression. So Lagna Lord retrogression being in the 3rd house, no initiation should be taken at this point of time. Later, when Lagna Lord gets direct in the end of January, things can, a new decision, something new can start, and you can go with it. And once Jupiter comes into the 4th house, it is a better position. It will be aspecting Sagittarius, the 10th house. So till then, and Saturn will be coming on the Lagna. As of now, Rahu is. So situation is quite, you have to face a lot of responsibility issues. You can be burning the lamp at night because Saturn is there retrograde in the 12th house. It is, don't take out that on your family members. You can feel quite intense at this point of time. You can feel that you have taken up too much on your shoulders. It can go at times irritated. Don't get too much, that burst out can any day happen with 4th Mars, because it's a fire brewing up over there in Gemini sign. So this is the condition as of now. So go slow and see how things happen, because more than Gemini, I'm concerned with the back and forth of Mars in Gemini and Cancer, and obviously because Mars is aspecting Ketu, the 7th house. So these things have to be kept in mind while judging this transit of Mars, and see what happens in the coming month, especially Mars transit into Adra Nakshatra from 6th to 30th of September. Okay, so this was the transit of Mars for you guys. Hope it helps you in your way of taking decisions in different areas of your life. Till my next video, we'll meet again. Take good care. Have a good day.